average trade payable is opening trade payable plus closing trade payable. There is one more formula for average payment period, that is, here you can see trade payables includes two things. Can you tell me? Trade. Yes.
The bills payable and creditors.
Creditors and bills payable. Very good. Creditors and bills payable. So if we add these two things, we will get our trade payables. So in calculation of average trade payables, what we have to do, we have to take opening creditors and opening bills payable, and then closing creditors and closing bills payable. And then we calculate the average of these items. So we will get our average trade payable, opening trade payables plus closing trade payables divided by 2. Okay, it is now average payment period. It shows the credit period enjoyed by enterprise. Okay, so we purchase goods from our creditors. Okay, and in what time we pay our dues to the creditors. So average credit period enjoyed by enterprise. Okay, so average credit period enjoyed by us, because we are calculating for the firm. So that's why average payment period equals to 365 divided by trade payable turnover ratio. You can also change this formula. Trade payable turnover ratio will be converted in net credit purchase divided by average trade payable. So the new formula will be 365 divided by net credit purchase into average trade payables. So this is our trade payable turnover ratio. Let's see a question for this. I am sharing the question. Okay, trade payable turnover ratio. The first question you can see, calculate trade payables turnover ratio and average debt payment period from the following information. So sundry creditors and bills payable for the opening date and the closing date is given. And total purchase is 21 lakh, purchase return is 1 lakh, cash purchase is 4 lakh. Okay. So how to calculate trade payable turnover ratio? Question number 100. So it is question number 100. First of all, we need opening trade payables. Opening trade payables equals to opening creditors plus opening bills payable. So 1,50,000 plus 50,000. So the total is 2 lakh. And closing trade payables equals to 4,50,000 plus 1,50,000. No, okay, 150, 50, 40, yes. So 4,50,000 plus 1,50,000. It is 6 lakh. Now, our opening trade payables or closing trade payables is calculated. So if we calculate average trade payable then it will be 2 lakh plus 6 lakh divided by 2. So 8 lakh divided by 2. It is 4 lakh. We have calculated our average trade payable. Now the formula for creditor turnover ratio is creditor or average trade payable turnover ratio. Total purchase is given in the quotient. We need credit purchase, net credit purchase. So if total purchase is given, total purchase is 21 lakh. And cash purchase is also given. So we will calculate credit purchase from this. It will be 21 lakh minus cash purchase, which is 4 lakh. So we get 17 lakh here. Now, this is our credit purchase, but we need net credit purchase. For that, we need to subtract our purchase return from this. So net credit purchase equals to credit purchase, that is 17 lakh, minus purchase return, if there is 1 lakh. So we will get 16 lakh here. Okay. Is there any problem up to this?
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay. Okay. So after net credit purchase, we know the average trade payable and net credit purchase. So we can calculate our creditor turnover ratio or trade payable turnover ratio. So trade payable turnover ratio equals to net credit purchase, that is 16 lakh, divided by 4 lakh. This average trade payables, 4 lakh. It is 4 times. Is there any problem here?
No, sir, it's clear.
Now, can you tell me by this formula, like average payment period, you can see we have to calculate average debt payment period also. Okay. So what will be the average debt payment period? Yes.
Sir, 365 divided by trade payable turnover ratio.
That is 4 times.
Yes, sir.
So it will be 91 days. 365 divided by 4. So it will be 91.25, or you can say 91 days. Okay. Because days cannot be written in points. So that's why 91 days. It will be taken as whole. Okay. So this is a simple solution actually. There is no complication in this portion. So we will take a little complicated question. Let me see. Okay. Question number 104. Please read the question. From the following information, calculate opening and closing trade payables. Cash purchase 25% of total purchase. Revenue from operation is 3 lakh and gross profit is 25% on revenue from operations. Opening inventory is 75,000, closing inventory is 1,50,000. Trade payable turnover ratio is 3 times, and closing trade payables were 75,000 in excess of opening trade payables. So this is a little complicated question. Now, for trade payable turnover ratio, we need two things: net credit purchase, which we can calculate from here or not. Can you tell me?
So could you repeat it again?
Yes. We can calculate actually for trade payable turnover ratio, we need two things. First is net credit purchase, and the second thing is average trade payable. So first thing, that is net credit purchase, we can calculate from these information or not.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how we will calculate our net credit purchase?
So revenue from operations, subtract, like you will subtract cash purchases from that.
Revenue from operation, subtract.
No, so we'll subtract cash purchases from revenue from operations.
Okay, we will get the answer. Okay, let me see. You were saying we have to deduct this 25% from
No,
this.
sir, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. No, I took sales. Sorry, sir.
Okay, so now you see the problem here. What will be our way to calculate our net credit purchase? Okay, let's see.
Sir, will we use the cost of goods sold formula?
Yes.
Opening inventory minus purchases.
Yes. So our revenue from operation, we know. Question number 104. So revenue from operation is given. It is total revenue from operation is 3 lakh. And our gross profit is 25% on the revenue from operations. So we can calculate our gross profit from this. Gross profit will be 3 lakh into 25%. So we will get 75,000. Now, cost of goods sold. Will be 3 lakh minus 75,000. That is revenue from operation minus gross profit. We will get our cost of goods sold. That is 2,25,000. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now there is a second formula for cost of goods sold, which we will use to calculate purchase. Cost of goods sold equals to opening inventory plus purchase and minus closing stock. So cost of goods sold, we know it is 2,25,000 equals to opening stock is given, opening inventory 75,000 and closing inventory is 1,50,000. So 75,000 plus purchase minus 1,50,000. So if we will write purchase here, leave purchase here, and bring this 75,000 and 1,50,000 on the left side. So it will be 2,25,000 minus 75,000 plus 1,50,000. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So our purchase will be, it will be 3 lakh. Two lakh 25,000 minus 75,000. It will be 150, and 150 plus 150, it is 3 lakh. Okay. Three lakh. Okay. So we now get 3 lakh. This is our total purchase. Now cash purchase is 25% of total purchase. So 3 lakh into 25%. So we will get 75,000. Okay. Actually, purchase and sale, both the amount same here. Okay. Okay, 75,000. Yes, cost of goods sold and sale, both are same. So we get our cash purchase as 75,000. Is this clear? Our revenue from operation was also 3 lakh. And our cost of goods sold, or sorry, purchase is also 3 lakh. Now cash purchase is 75,000. So our credit purchase will be 2,25,000. 3 lakh minus 75,000. We will get 2,25,000. Now, what about trade payables? It is given that closing trade payable were 75,000 in excess of opening trade payables. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
we have to calculate opening and closing trade payables. So let's use the trade payable turnover ratio formula. Trade payable turnover ratio equals to credit purchase divided by average trade payables. Okay, so trade payable turnover ratio was 5 times, 3 times. It is 3, and our credit purchase is 2,25,000, and we don't know our average trade payable. So we can say that average trade payable will be how much? What will be the amount of average trade payable? Ganesha, can you tell me the amount?
So just a second. So 75,000.
Yes, 75,000. 2,25,000 divided by 3, it is 75,000. Very good. So average trade payables. Now, we don't know the amount of opening and closing trade payable, but there is one information about these two. closing trade payables were 75,000 in excess of opening trade payables. Means we have closing trade payables, which is more than opening trade payables by 75,000. So we can take opening trade payables as base. Okay. So let the opening trade payables be X. So it means closing trade payable will be it is more than opening trade payable by 75,000. So X plus 75,000. Now, what is the
Yes,
formula
sir.
of average trade payables? It is opening plus closing divided by 2. Opening trade payables plus closing trade payables divided by 2. Average trade payable, we know it is 75,000, and opening trade payable is X, closing trade payable is X plus 75,000 divided by 2. So it will be 1,50,000 here equals to 2X plus 75,000. Now 2X equals to 75,000. 175,000 will be brought to left side and it will be deducted from 1,50,000. So X equals to 75,000 divided by 2. It will be 37,500. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is your opening inventory, because we assume opening inventory as X and X value is 37,500. Now, what will be the closing inventory? Closing inventory equals to opening inventory plus 75,000. So it will be 37,500 plus 75,000.
1,12,500.
1,12,500. So tell me, is this clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Do you have any doubt in this topic of trade payable turnover ratio?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, if we have to calculate our average payment period, then what will we do? We will divide 365 by this 3. So we will get 121 or 2 days. Yes, 122 days. Okay. So 365 divided by trade payable turnover ratio, that is 3. We will get 122 days. So this is our trade payable turnover ratio. After this, there is one more ratio, which is working capital turnover ratio. Now, you have already told me what is the formula of working capital. That is current assets minus current liabilities. Okay. There is two concepts of working capital actually. One is gross working capital and second is net working capital. But we generally use net working capital concept. Okay. In gross working capital concept, current asset is equal to working capital. But we use net working capital, which is current assets minus current liabilities. Now, what will be the formula of working capital turnover ratio? So you can see here the formula is revenue from operation divided by working capital. Okay. So in comparison to our working capital, how much sale we can generate, okay, by our working capital. So the objective of computing the ratio is to ascertain whether or not working capital has been effectively used in generating revenue or not. So if this formula is this result in higher amount, okay, it is good for the business. Okay. If it is low, then our working capital is not used effectively. So working capital equals to current assets minus current liabilities. In
Okay.
this, yes.
No, I just said it.
So here are different portions on the basis of working capital turnover ratio. Okay, actually one more turnover ratio is included in your book in this year. Okay. You have your book right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can you find out the turnover ratio or activity ratio in your book? There are different types of activity ratio that we have to study.
Sir, activity ratio.
Yes.
Sir, is it fixed assets turnover ratio and assets turnover ratio?
Fixed asset turnover ratio and net asset turnover ratio.
Yes, sir.
Actually, fixed asset turnover ratio was included already. I think net asset turnover ratio is included in this year. Okay, so there was the first one is inventory turnover ratio, trade receivable turnover ratio, trade payable turnover ratio, working capital turnover ratio. Fifth is fixed asset turnover ratio, and the sixth is net asset turnover ratio. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So six. So capital turnover ratio. We have seen the formula here, working capital turnover ratio. You can see here, cost of revenue from operation is given. Just wait 1 minute. Okay, so you can see here, working capital turnover ratio is given. Okay, cost of revenue from operation is 10 lakh, current asset is 5 lakh, and current liability is 3 lakh. So in this question, the revenue from operation is not given, and we cannot calculate revenue from operation. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what will we do? We will use cost of goods sold or not?
Sir, I don't know.
Okay, actually in all of these activity ratio, we can interchange the information. Okay, so if we are not able to calculate, or if the information is not given in the quotient, we can interchangeably use the revenue from operation instead of cost of goods sold, and cost of goods sold instead of revenue from operation. Okay, so if you want to write this note, you can write it that we can use cost of goods sold instead of revenue from operation, and we can use revenue from operation instead of cost of goods sold. One more thing, if I think in trade receivable turnover ratio, yes, in trade receivable turnover ratio, there is a question of calculating a trade receivable turnover ratio, and in the information part, there is only total revenue from operation. No information about cash sales, no information about credit sales, nothing. Okay, so we don't have the information, and we cannot calculate the credit revenue from operation. So in that case, we can use the revenue from operation. Is that clear?
Okay, sir. So, and this is only applicable for this kind of ratios, right? Other, it won't.
Yes, activity ratio.
Okay.
So from the following information, calculate working capital turnover ratio, cost of revenue from operation is given. There is no percentage of gross profit. There is no other information so that we can calculate revenue from operation. So we will use cost of goods sold. So 10 lakh is our cost of goods sold and our working capital is 2 lakh. It is current assets minus current liability. So it is 2 lakh. Our working capital turnover ratio will be 5 times. It is a simple question here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, addition, okay, in question number 109, you will see the capital employed is 12 lakh, net fixed assets is 8 lakh, cost of goods sold or cost of revenue from operation is 40 lakh. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So can you tell me how you will calculate working capital in this question? You just have to tell me how we will calculate the working capital in this question.
Sir, no, I don't know.
You don't know?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me change the information type here. Okay. Then I think you will able to calculate. You know, there is two side of balance sheet. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I'm taking the horizontal format, not vertical, but nowadays we prepare our balance sheet in vertical format. So let's say the capital employed includes two things in liability side. The first is equity shareholder fund. Okay, equity shareholder fund. You can see, sorry, not equity shareholder fund, shareholder fund. So in shareholder fund, we include share capital, reserve and surplus, and all the other things related to equity and preference shares. The shareholder fund and then non-current liabilities. Okay. These two things are included in capital employed. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there is a third item on the balance sheet which is not given, that is current liability. Is this clear? It is not known.
Yes, sir.
And on the balance sheet, there is two items, two headings. Can you tell me the headings name?
Current assets, non-current assets.
Yes. First is non-current assets and the second is current assets. Non-current assets information is given fixed assets. You can see here fixed assets is given in the quotient.
So capital employed minus fixed assets.
Yes. You told
I got
me
it.
before I explain things. Very good. Okay, so shareholder fund and non-current liability is given, non-current assets is given. So there is two items, current assets and current liability, which is not given in the quotient. And difference of these two is our working capital.
Yes, I got it.
So whatever the amount is, let's say their figure is, these two amount is 12 lakh and this amount is 8 lakh. Okay, so let's say our current liability is 1 lakh, total 13 lakh. So our
Yes.
current assets will be 5 lakh, so that it will also become 13 lakh. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So 5 lakh minus 1 lakh, that is 4 lakh. If you take current liability as 3 lakh, then it will be 15 lakh and we have to take it 7 lakh. So it will also become 15 lakh. So 7 lakh minus 3 lakh, 4 lakh. So we can calculate by 12 lakh minus 8 lakh. It is also 4 lakh. Clear?
Yes, that's clear.
Okay, so in this question now we know the working capital and our cost of revenue from operation is given. Yes. Cost of goods sold is given and gross profit is 20% on cost. So 40 lakh into 20%, it will be 8 lakh. So our revenue from operation will be 48 lakh and our working capital is 4 lakh. So the working capital turnover ratio will be 12 times. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, question number 7, 107. The last portion of working capital turnover ratio. Actually, let's see first the fixed asset turnover ratio also. Actually, I have fixed asset ratio. Okay, no problem. Actually, there is no fixed asset turnover ratio here in my formula. Let me see. Actually, in my book, the fixed asset turnover ratio and the net asset turnover ratio both are not included. So we will write the formula here. Okay, so fixed asset turnover ratio, we can use, I told you that we can use it, establish the relationship between two items, the revenue from operation or cost of goods sold revenue from operation or cost of goods sold divided by fixed assets. Now, you know how to calculate fixed assets, and we also know that we will use the revenue from operation, and in absence of the information, we will use cost of goods sold. Okay, so this is our formula. Now, this formula tells us that how much long-term capital that we have invested in our business and how much revenue is generated from this assets, the total assets. Okay, so we compare these two to see that our fixed assets, like in working capital, we see that our working capital is used effectively or not. Okay, so in this ratio, we see that our fixed assets are used effectively in our business or not, so that it is able to generate sufficient revenue or profit in the business or not. Okay, so fixed asset turnover ratio equals to revenue from operation divided by fixed assets. We can use cost of goods sold if there is no information or we cannot calculate revenue from operation. So this is our formula of fixed asset turnover ratio. I will prepare actually the sheet is not prepared. Okay, presentation. So I will show it to you in our next class. It will be complete. Actually, it is not included. Yes, profitability ratio is given. So working capital turnover ratio is given, and fixed asset turnover ratio we can use from here. The formula is this. Okay, so the question number 107. There is equity share capital, gross profit on revenue.
So your question is not visible.
Yes.
Now it is visible.
Okay, so equity share capital is 15 lakh, gross profit on revenue from operation, that is net sales 33, 1/3%. So 33.33% it will become. So cost of revenue from operation or cost of goods sold is 20 lakh. Now, gross profit is given on net sales and cost of revenue from operation is given. So how we will calculate our revenue from operation?
So gross profit and the cost of goods sold with that formula.
Gross profit and cost of goods sold. Can you tell me how much our gross profit will be? The amount of gross profit.
So we'll take net sales as X and then 33, like that percentage of X. Is it like that?
Yes. Actually, you can use the formula here. The formula will be, actually, we have to calculate the ratio is on the basis of sales. Okay, so our profit will be cost of goods sold is given. So cost of goods sold multiplied by rate divided by 100 minus rate. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So it will be cost of goods sold is 20 lakh in the quotient. Yes, it is 20 lakh. Into a rate is 33.33 divided by 100 minus rate. So we will get 20 lakh multiplied by 33.33 divided by 66.66. Okay. Our gross profit is 10 lakh. And on the basis of gross profit and cost of goods sold, our total sales or revenue from operation will be 30 lakh. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. So now we have calculated our revenue from operation and working capital turnover ratio we have to calculate. So working capital we can calculate by 10 lakh minus 2,50,000. So working capital will be 10 lakh minus 2,50,000. Actually, Vanisha, can you send me the pic of your quotients? Yes, the quotients from your book, like fixed asset turnover ratio and
So
net
for
asset
which?
turnover.
Okay, sir. I'll forward it to the counselor.
And one more thing, the debt to capital employed ratio also. Okay, there is 3 ratio included
Sir,
in
could you
this.
repeat which all three?
Yes, I'm writing here. Debt to capital employed. You will find this under solvency ratio and fixed assets and net assets. Okay. Fixed asset turnover ratio and net asset turnover ratio. So these 3 portion of these 3 ratio. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Not now. You can send me anytime you are free. So working capital is 7,50,000 here, and we get revenue from operation 30 lakhs. So our ratio will be working capital turnover ratio will be 30 lakh. Actually, I have these portions from NCERT book, but there is very low number of portion. Minimum portion is given in NCERT book. So that's why I'm asking.
No issue, sir.
Okay, so it is 4 times. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will send you these questions as assignment. Please try to solve these questions. Okay, and then we will discuss our next topic in our next class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you.